Welcome to the Igniting the CEO Within podcast, where we interview successful high-level professionals to discover lessons they've learned throughout their career that can help ignite the CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge, and I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes or so. Our show is sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has developed Launchpad, which offers an opportunity for executive coaches to become licensed circle directors and earn annual recurring six-figure revenues. After completing the Launchpad program, you'll lead your own peer advisory circles, helping other CEOs and entrepreneurs excel in their professional and personal lives while providing a community of support, accountability, and challenge. If you'd like to learn more, go to quaidcircle.com. I am super pumped for our show today. I get to hang out with Mary Williams, who, among other things, is a fractional HR people ops executive out of the Chicago area. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for inviting me into this conversation. I'm really excited to be here, and it's an honor.
Awesome. For me too. Let's jump into it. You know, you've had just an amazing career, and you've had exposure to all types of leaders. Some excellent, and some maybe not so excellent. So, in your experience, if you could put your finger on one or two things that are traits that separate the really good ones from the average to really poor ones, what would that be?
I love the question. I think for me, when I reflect on, like you said, throughout my career, best CEOs, best leaders, I think the trait that separates the best is self-awareness. So when you're leading an organization, your decisions, your energy, how you show up in a room, it all scales. And so understanding your impact isn't optional, it is leverage. So self-awareness isn't a soft skill, it's a strategic one. If you don't understand your impact, you're managing the business, but not truly leading it. So I like to think about it through the lens of Ikigai. So for those not familiar, it's a Japanese philosophy, roughly translated to a reason for being. And I think about it as a fulfillment factor. At its core, Ikigai is about alignment. So you think about what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what creates value. So forgive me because it's a little bit hard to explain without the visual of that that Venn diagram. But the self-aware CEO constantly checks alignment, constantly checks that temperature, not just for themselves, but for the whole organization to know the pulse of the organization. So they're asking themselves when they are exhibiting this quality of self-awareness, where am I uniquely effective? And that's just as important as self-reflecting and having the awareness of where am I not? So when a CEO understands their Ikigai, it changes how they lead. They stop trying to be great at everything and focus where they create the most leverage, or I think about it in terms of where I can contribute my highest value. What is my highest value to the organization? So that self-awareness in the lens of Ikigai leads them to build leadership teams that complement their strengths, challenge their assumptions, and then fill in those gaps. It creates space for others to operate in their Ikigai, which is where their performance and fulfillment start reinforcing each other. And when a CEO understands their Ikigai and is self-aware, they make better choices. Better choices about where to focus, better choices about who to empower, and better choices about when to step back. And this builds effective teams. It helps to build a team that complements them instead of mirrors them. So you're avoiding that looks like me bias, and creates a culture where people start working with purpose, not just chasing metrics. So at that level, it's not about having all the answers. It's about knowing yourself well enough to align purpose, performance, and people all at
Uh-huh.
scale. So that's where that success comes from, is that self-awareness. So encouraging the honest dialogue,
Uh-huh.
healthy disagreement, and accountability without blame. That's your sense of psychological safety at a core as a core value.
Uh-huh.
And then people are going to bring more ideas forward because you've created this safety, because then you've modeled that curiosity and learning over ego. And over time, that alignment becomes purpose, capability, and impact. And then you've created a competitive advantage for yourself. So that's why I think self-awareness is the trait that sets the best apart.
Mary, that's possibly the best answer to that question I've ever had. Honestly, that was really amazing. And there's a ton of it in there that I would love to break down. And and I believe every bit of that. I think at times I've used every component of that. I've just never been able to wrap it up in a big package like you just did. So I'm grateful for that. That's that's not easy, right?
Mhm.
The self-awareness component alone is not something that's natural for people to take the time to take that step back and go, who am I? And understanding that who I am evolves every single day, right? With the more experiences that we have, the more interactions that we have with everything that goes on, that you're going to continue to evolve, and who you are at 10 and 21 and 35 and 58 are not the same people. Um, anyway, so it's not natural. So walk me through, how do you get started on that journey of self-awareness? What do you see? I don't think it's as easy as tips and tricks and do this and do that, but what does that journey to self-awareness look like in your eyes?
For me, that lens is Ikigai, and I'm just so excited to be learning so much more about it. I'm um, definitely a learner when it comes
Hmm.
to that. So those overlapping elements, what you love,
Hmm.
those are those activities that energize and engage you. Sally Hawkshead talked about it in her book, How the World Sees You, as quicksand, as those things that do not energize you to
Hmm.
get that self awareness. The other element is what you're good at. So, those are
Hmm.
your strengths and skills and talents. Now, these are not necessarily the same thing.
Hmm.
So, something you love and something you're good at might not be the same thing.
Right.
Thinking about what the world needs, there are problems worth solving, value worth creating, and then obviously we do have that element of what we can be paid for.
Hmm.
So when we think about how they intersect, what you're good at and what you love, that's your passion.
Hmm. So
What you
can
Mhm.
I stop you
Yeah,
right there real quick?
please.
Because part of that journey too is identifying what you don't love and what
Yes.
you're not good at too, right? Because more simplistically than yours, I think of a quadrant with what I love and what I'm good at, and what I don't like and what I suck at. um,
Yeah.
Mark language. And so you want to do less of those things that you hate and you're not very good at. To your point, you may love something and be really good at it, and that's the quadrant that you want to hang out in. You also may love something but you're not very good at, but that gives you an opportunity to invest in, right?
Hmm.
So you continue to grow and identify that. So I all of those things fit into that first part of that journey, I think.
And I think sometimes it is that reflection of, I love doing this. I'm not good at it. Now that become then you have your gap analysis to identify who is good at
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
And if you want to get better, invest in yourself and learn more, go ahead. That'd be great for yourself and the organization.
Yeah.
It's when that ego toggle
Mhm.
can get in the way. So that's why that self awareness is so important, to identify both aspects and those four parts of your quadrant that you're describing.
Mhm. Yeah. Great. Sorry, so I interrupted you. Keep
Oh,
going to the
not
to
at
the next
all.
point. Yeah. No, that's great.
No, so those where those intersect, I think, helps identify mission, vocation, profession. And so what you love and what the world needs, that's how you think about your mission.
Mhm.
And so when I break it down, and again, I'm still learning, um, Ikigai isn't just about career and ambition.
Mhm.
It is found in your daily practices, in relationships, in your service, and less about chasing happiness, and more about living with intention.
Mm. Yeah, I like that. When Okay, so how do you do that?
Yeah,
How
right?
yeah, I mean, that's a $1,000,000 question, right? Is how do I guess it all ties together, right? This is it's loosely attached, but we often talk about there's no such thing as work life balance. That there's work life harmony, there's work life integration,
Yep,
and that's part of what you're talking about, I think, right?
absolutely. That clarity of focus,
Hmm.
knowing where you create. I always think of it as my highest value. Is this my highest value to the organization? Um, Creates resilience. So
Hmm.
being able to stay grounded when pressure comes or if there are setbacks. And having that sustainable performance. So you're aligning your performance then, or purpose, sorry, your
Yeah.
purpose
Yeah.
with the results. So meaning meets usefulness.
Hmm.
And I think
One
that provides the fulfillment. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Um, one of the things that we talk about a lot, we in Quaid, we work with a lot of entrepreneurs who have started up a company and are moving it forward. And one of the biggest challenges is that movement from, even that quadrant of what I do well and what I really love, but taking that next step, which is where am I actually most valuable to my company? It may not be in those things, right? And that's hard because this is your baby, for lack of a better word,
Yep,
and you want it to be successful, and you know the ins and outs and how and every customer and every employee and where every dollar goes and all that kind of stuff. And that's great and it's required at some level, but ultimately, if you're going to grow and fulfill your purpose and the organization's purpose and all the things that you've built this thing for, you're going to have to get away from the things that you love and the things you're good at if they're not where you're most valuable to that company.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think it's about identifying what am I uniquely good at?
Hmm. Hmm.
What do I genuinely care about? So, CEOs, startup entrepreneurs are very energized by the problem their company is solving. So, when that personal motivation aligns with that mission, I feel like that's the magic, where the magic
Hmm.
happens. That's the sweet spot. Um, this exercise of this self awareness and this Ikigai lens forces realism. So,
Hmm.
forces that look in the mirror, hold the mirror up, and identify, to be grounded in your purpose. There are competitive realities, there are timings, but purpose without that market relevance is aspiration.
Hmm.
Market relevance without purpose is fragile. So, at the core, you are trying to operate a profitable business and identify what creates sustainable, economic value. And that's where that vision and accountability
Mhm.
piece coincide. So, helping to translate into a business model to fund growth and reward talent and compound that value over time. But I think that self-awareness piece can help build on those.
Wow, I love that. That's amazing. Thank you. Um, yeah, you're gonna keep me up at night. I've got all kinds of stuff running through my head right now. This is amazing.
Happy to share resources and
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's
whatever
great.
helps.
What so and again, we try to do these in quick little tidbits of time, and so we're kind of pushing that. So one of the things that I really like to share, or a question I like to kind of end with everybody is, if you were to look back at 20-year-old Mary and say, "Hey, I've learned this stuff from the future. You need to start being on the lookout for this." Aside from the self-awareness piece, let's throw something else out there. What would you talk to 20-year-old Mary about? I know that was just a couple of years ago, so yes. But what would you share? What would an observation be, or something to look out for, or something to definitely do?
I'll frame that as something I wish I had known earlier,
Great.
a lesson I wish I learned then, and then try and attempt to impart some wisdom.
Hmm.
I wish I learned about the importance of the power of community and building
Hmm.
my network at a
Hmm.
younger age. Um, there is an HR community that I was a part of. It's no longer active, but HR Social Hour, and their motto was connect, give back, and network. And within I would imagine CEOs can be a very lonely community in themselves with unique problems, not dissimilar to human resources and people operations. But it gives us a way, that building of community, building a network of intentional connections, so valuable and provides a way to develop and nurture relationships. And I'm now at the phase where it's not how much I get, but what I can give.
Hmm.
And being able to connect, being able to give back, and build community of intentional connections. Something I wish I had known and started earlier and sooner in my career because it was really um, impactful and instrumental for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it also goes back to something that we kind of talked about early on, as we're building, and that self awareness continues to evolve. If you put yourself in those communities, you're going to gain exposure to things that you had never seen before. And that is what makes life, right? Is life is about experiences, and being able to capitalize on those and see those and open your eyes to completely different things just is amazing. And you can only do that by getting out of your own shell and being in groups and exposing yourself to other people.
Yes, and
I
then you
love it.
kind of have that phone a friend, or the
Uh-huh.
next meetup or the circle. You'll be able to bring that issue forward and say, you know what, I've never experienced this before. Here's what I think I want to do, but I want to know if I have any blind spots. Again, that
Uh-huh.
self awareness piece creeping in, but do I have any blind spots? Am I thinking of this the right way? You never know. Someone might say, oh, I just did that last year. Here's what I did. Here's
Yeah.
what I learned. Can be
Well, and
really
that's
valuable.
yeah. Well, and we talk about a lot of um, experiential feedback, right? So when I was in that position, I did X, Y, and Z, and I screwed up X and I screwed up Y, but Z worked out pretty well for me. You might think about that, right? Versus you need to do
Exactly.
this, right? That's the experiential piece is way more helpful.
Yes, I agree with you. But that's something I wish I would have learned
Yeah.
sooner.
Mary, you're amazing. This has been a blast. Thank you for taking the time. I had an absolute blast. Thank you.
Me too. It was such an honor. Thanks again for the invite.
Yeah, yeah. Folks, we did it again. We have uncovered some more insights and nuggets that you can use as you continue down your path of growth and self-awareness and just figuring out who you are and where you're going and how you're going about it. As we wrap up this episode of Igniting the CEO Within, wanted to remind you that we are sponsored by Quaid, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quaid has created Launchpad, which provides an exciting opportunity for executive coaches to become licensed circle directors and earn annually recurring six-figure revenues. To find out more, visit quaidcircle.com. Until next time, keep igniting that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge. Thanks for listening.